Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Atlanta Falcons. This is a squad that went 7-10 last season, but here's the thing. They spent $250 million in free agency and contract extensions this past summer. Don't let that 7-10 record fool you. Don't let Ritter only playing a handful of games fool you. The Falcons have a playoff roster, and it's pretty frustrating actually, and I'm a Packers fan, hearing nonstop stuff about the New Orleans Saints or the Carolina Panthers or whatever. Nobody's talking about the Falcons. And like I said, they spent $250 million this summer for a very, very specific reason, and it's because they have a competent roster. We take a look at this defense that was, by the end of the year, it was solid. Right, there was already a lot of existing talent on Atlanta's defense, but in free agency and in the draft, they pretty much filled out the gaps. Mainly in free agency, where you picked up David Onyemata, one of the more underrated players in the league, Calais Campbell, star player, proven star veteran, Bud Dupree, Lorenzo Carter, Caden Ellis, Jesse Bates. Right? That's all defensive additions. I'll even throw in Jeff Okudah because Jeff Okudah was selected at pick number 3 a handful of years ago for a very specific reason, because he's a stud. If Jeff Okudah is healthy, I believe he's slated as cornerback 3 right now. I think a change of scenery is exactly what he needed. But guys, before we get into today's video, if you enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. I post daily NFL content. I post a bunch of Falcons videos. Falcons fans, let's get this hype train going, man. Let's try and get 500 likes on today's video. That would mean the world to me. But anyways, that defense is really good. Guys, that defense is really good. And keep in mind, like, this safety unit might be the best safety unit, or it's probably the most non-talked about safety unit as far as skill goes in the league. You have Jesse Bates III, who's a ball hawk, stud, leader on and off the field. And then you have Richie Grant, who, you know, Falcons fans love Richie Grant. Last season, 123 tackles, 2 interceptions. Like, you're going to take that year 3, he could break out into a star or a more solidified star this upcoming season. But defensively, you know, it's just a great roster. And I think they had so much talent on their defense last year, but it was like, you know, you show a random NFL fan their roster and you're like, I don't really know any of these guys. But now they have, you know, more household names, guys like Calais Campbell. Not saying you need household names, but that defense is going to be better than average next season. So obviously it all comes down to the offensive side of things, led by Desmond Ritter. Now here's the thing. You know, Ritter only played a couple of games at the end of the year last year. So he's not going to be perfect. Right? He's not going to be perfect this upcoming season if he played all games. This year is essentially his rookie season. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, and it was a very specific reason that they picked up Taylor Heinicke, just in case Desmond Ritter isn't the franchise quarterback, or he's struggling so much if we haven't seen that, you know, huge jump in improvement or any improvement at all. Well, now you have a backup plan in Taylor Heinicke, or, you know, if Desmond Ritter were to unfortunately get hurt, well, you have a solidified backup who can win. But the new addition in Bijan Robinson is going to change everything, guys. I'm sure Falcons fans are so hyped. Everything they're reading right now about Bijan Robinson, everything you've seen about Bijan Robinson, this dude is a literal stud. I've called him a future Hall of Famer so many times on this channel, especially when he got drafted by Atlanta. He joins already one of the best running back lineups in the NFL with Tyler Algier, who had such a sleeper rookie season, over 1,000 rushing yards. He can catch as well. You have Cordell Patterson, who is just a great playmaking threat to have. There's a lot of versatility on this offense, but Bijan Robinson, like the other day, he said it's gonna get scary. He said he's studying Davante Adams to improve as a receiver. This guy is going to be so freaking good. It's insane. So if Desmond can control the game and he can limit turnovers and limit mistakes, you know, if the offense can keep penalties down, you're going to win a bunch of football games, because they're going to be able to run the ball down the other team's throat, which sounds a little weird, and I was a little hesitant to say it, but hopefully you guys get the point I'm going at here. You know, we look at the offense, guys. Keep in mind, this offensive line last year was top 10, okay? They have 4 returning starters on their offensive line, and you drafted Matthew Bergeron in the second round to fill in at left guard. So that offensive line's top 10. We saw it with the rush attack last year. So your offensive line improved, which was already a good offensive line. You're getting close to great offensive line. It's probably actually going to be great this season. And you have a great running back room. You have a three-headed monster, essentially. And then we take a look at Desmond Ritter's threats, all right? Kyle Pitts. A healthy Kyle Pitts. Oh, my goodness gracious. But even the wide receiver room, Drake London. Super sneaky rookie season for an inconsistent passing attack. You know, the Falcons still finished 15th overall in total offense, but it was mainly because they were the third best rushing unit in the league. Passing yards wise and just most passing statistics, they were the second worst team. Like, they're second worst in passing attempts, second worst in passing yards. But Drake London was one of the bright spots on your offense. But don't forget, or, don't underestimate the additions of guys like Mac Hollins and Scotty Miller. I covered the Raiders last year. Mac Hollins was, outside of Devontae Adams, the most consistent and the most reliable wide receiver on the Las Vegas Raiders last season. He's a fully capable wide receiver too. And Scotty Miller, another just solid guy who's been around the league. He's got some experience, but he's not super old to have on your roster. Now, a little surprised they didn't take a wide receiver more so in the later stages of the draft, because it does get a little bit more thin after Drake London, Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller. But like I said, you also have Cordell Patterson, and you also have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, and both of them can catch the ball. But we take a look at the tight end unit. New addition, Jonnu Smith, great tight end 2 to have. Now you have a two-headed monster. You can get creative. You can get versatile. You can throw 2 tight ends set out there, which is going to make the defense match it, which poses problems and just helps Arthur Smith's offense be able to get to that next level and just kind of, just versatility, essentially, which helps you become more creative. And the last thing you want in the NFL offensively is a predictable offense. So a healthy Kyle Pitts is an arguable top 5 tight end in the league, but I think people forgot about that last season because of his injury. So you still have and he's still super young, right? So they're filling out that offense, and they filled out the defense completely in free agency and in the draft. Zach Harrison as well, just kind of a stud, 3rd round draft pick defensive end out of Ohio State. But offensively, there are so many threats. There are so many playmaking threats on this offensive side that, like I said, it's just going to come down to Desmond Ridder. It's just going to come down to it. And like I said, it's going to be inconsistent because it's essentially going to be his rookie season. Keep in mind, he was selected in the 3rd round of the draft as well. So, keep expectations in check, where he's probably not going to be an MVP, probably not going to be an MVP candidate this upcoming season. Anything can happen, but keep in mind, it's basically his rookie season. So, altogether, man, I don't think the Falcons, and they have a really easy schedule, by the way, and you're in the easiest division. The Falcons this season, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but what I am saying is I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think they're definitely a huge threat to win your division, but also to win 10 or more games. I would not be surprised if the Falcons won 10 plus games this upcoming season. It sounds crazy at first, but when you look into it, it really is not. So that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Falcons fans, if you guys want more videos, let me know down below. But guys, what are you thinking this year? Give me a win total. Are we making the playoffs? What's the word? Peace.